Hey YouTube people, I'm trying to take a little break from the board gaming here for just a little bit because I want to try something out that Phil did on his blog, and I'll link to that in the show notes. Subscribe here. I think it was Gumbarrel that made a joke about that a couple of years ago. Anyway, hey, so what I'm trying to do is Phil just did a test when he was trying out some rules and some different kinds of units, and I'm using the Kings of War rules for two reasons. One, they're free. Two, they're relatively easy. So as you can see, these lovely models, aren't they awesome? Just doing the old labeling technique to see if I even want to get some of these 6 or 10 millimeter samurai to try out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to testing out. I've used the rules once before, but I just want to try them a few times and see if I really like them. So anyway, so the bows and the arquebus. So if you don't know arquebus, I'm not sure how you say it. Fire their rifles, or oh my gosh, what are they, like flintlock? Phil also has a good thing on his website about how those work. Anyway, so they're like guns. They are guns, and then these are bows, obviously. They both have the same range of 24 centimeters. I've converted it to centimeters because I'm using such small bases. They use inches in Kings of War. These are dismounted samurai. And so what they've done is I just set them 24 centimeters apart, so they started within range of here. I rolled to see who would go first. These guys did. So these guys will keep moving up to get up here. And then, you know, these guys are going to have to, these guys are going to just keep shooting at them, and we'll see how that all works out. So what happened is they moved up, and both these guys separately, he fired on him, and he fired on them, and I think he scored one hit. And it's not really a hit, it's damage. And then these bows shot at them and scored 1 damage. Now, how it works is this. And this is all available online. And these lists here or something are all, there's like a 140-page PDF of human lists. Kings of War is obviously fantasy, but this is humans. I'm not into fantasy. I'm into reality, bro. Just kidding. Anyway, so these archers are both troops. So they move at 5. They move 5 centimeters. Oh, whoops! I was moving them too fast. I was moving the samurai too fast. Anyway, so they move 5 centimeters. On their melees, they hit on 5 up. On their ranged attacks, they hit on 5 up. And then if they're hit, you roll a die, and if a 3 up, they're hit. They get to roll 10 dice for attacks. Their nerve is 10 and 12. We'll worry about this in a minute. And their points are 75. So basically, the guns, the arquebus, are the same. Everything's the same except for they gain piercing and reload. So reload means they can't move and shoot, and piercing means that when they're rolling for the damage roll against the other guy's defense, you would add 2 to the dice. That's a pretty big deal because these samurai, dismounted samurai, have a defense of 4. So I hit them on a 2 up because they had that piercing 2, and so that's what I did. So now let's test for nerve. Okay, nerve test. You roll 2d6. I got 10 plus the 1 damage. That's 11. Then I go up here and I'm using a banner, so that's -1 to my roll. So that's a 10. I'm on these two guys. I'm on 14 and 16. So I'm below 14, so there's no effect. Now, if I were 14 or 15, I'd be wavering. If I was 16 or higher, I would rout. So, okay, yes, they can only halt, which means stand still. Change facing, which just means rotate, and I'll have to see how much they can turn. And they can only move backward. They cannot shoot. And routing means unit is destroyed. So really once you're doing that, unless there's a special ability, let's go see here. The unit counts as inspiring to all Ashigara units. They have a banner, which you add, if I just put a banner on them, which means you're -1 to your nerve check. Inspiring, if the unit or a friendly unit within 6 inches is routed, opponent must re-roll the nerve test. So that's cool. But there's no way, well, not no way, because I don't know the rules well enough, to get out of shaken, to get out of wavering. unless you have a leader or something, but I'm not aware of that at the moment. So it's pretty devastating. See it. Okay, a little bit more devastating this time. He moved, so he had to roll half his dice because his modifiers, because he's over half his distance, so that made it 6 ups. He had moved, so that makes it another modifier up to another one, but that makes him up at 7 plus. Well, you can't do a 7 plus on 6 dice, so you take half his dice hitting on 6s. He hit on, I think he hit once, so they gave him 2 hits, and then this guy rolled and got 3 hits. Well, he got way more than 3 hits, but he got 3 damage. He actually got a lot of hits too, but he only had 1 damage. So he has a total of 4 damage. This guy couldn't shoot at all because Acrobus has reload, so they cannot fire if they've moved, because you can't fire trying to reload your rifle and move. So they've separated out, but this guy had devastating hits, got up, and then he got hit and damaged. Well, he hit more times, but he got damaged for 4 more hits. So now that's going to be a crazy nerve roll. So let's roll it. So now for this guy, I rolled 2d6. He got 6 plus 4 is 10, minus that banner, so he's at 9. So he's okay, because remember it's 14. This guy, he got 8, plus 5 is 13, minus his banner is 12, so he's still okay. Next turn up. Okay, this turn, these guys, he moved to kind of get up there and make sure he stays in his arc. I don't know, this guy could totally turn and get in this thing. We'll see, maybe. Anyway, so he turned, so he had very few little dice. He didn't move. He's still over half his distance. No damage. No hits, no damage. He couldn't do anything. He's moved further out to try to cover his flank. And, well, shoot him, kind of split up the target. And this guy, devastating, put another 3 more hits on him, 3 more damage, because he's got piercing. So what it means is that because they've got guns, it's got piercing 2. Like I said, I think I already said that. So anyway, so he's at 8. He does not have to check nerve because he did not take additional damage. I'll have to check that. And I don't know if you have to check for nerve every time or only if you take more damage. I'll check. But these guys definitely took damage. So he's at 8. So I roll the dice. Oh man, 4 plus 8 is 12. Minus the 1 is 11. So he's still good. Alright, let me check that rule. If they always have to check nerve if you inflict damage in that phase. So we did not. And the dismounted samurai have said, forget trying to keep going around to get their flank. They're just like turned around and they're coming in. So neither one of these guys moved. Now they hit and damage, and now they have 7. So let's roll on their nerve. So 7 plus 10 is 17. Minus their banner 16. Their route is 16. And let's verify that it is equal to or greater. It is equal to or greater, so they should route. However, they have inspiring, so they have to re-roll this nerve test. So now it's 6 plus 7 is 13, and so now they are, wow, so it's 13 minus the 1, so it's 12, so they're still good. Boy, that high nerve number is good. Now, if this was just a troop, they would be off the table. Actually, they'd be wavering, but they're not. They're a regiment. Let's look at the other guys. Yeah, these guys are getting screamed here. Stream creamed. That's 15. So they already have. They're already 1 shy of routing. So you roll. 16, 12, but they get to re-roll that. There's nothing they can do, even if they get doubles. So they're off the table. They route. So they got within 3 centimeters. They would have charged these guys next, because both these guys shot at them and they avoided that. So that's the result of that. So they're off the table. They're like, oh, I can't handle it anymore. So they're gone. So that was that test. Let's see how this test is working. They get a couple more turns probably. See ya. Okay, so now the arquebuses get to support their boys, so they're moved up, so they can't fire. Both these guys fired on him with bows, and they inflict a couple more damages, so that's at 9. So we roll 2 dice. 9 plus 8 is 17, so he's supposed to rout, but I get to re-roll that because of inspiring. That's tilted, so I roll it again, and it's 9 plus 9 is 18, so they're out away from the table. So that's interesting. Both dismounted samurai get within like 3 to 4 centimeters, allowing them to charge the next round, but they get all taken out.